Are you being bullied in school? It's awful, I know, and I know how you feel. Here are 5 ways Christian kids should react to bullying based on what the Bible says. Deuteronomy 31:6 CSB. Be strong and courageous. Don't be terrified or afraid of them, for the Lord your God is the one who will go with you. He will not leave you or abandon you. The context of this verse is that Moses was talking to Israel and saying that his time was coming to an end. He was telling Israel that Joshua would take his place and lead them into the promised land. He was telling them to be strong. Picture a parent letting their kids go out into the real world for the first time. This verse also applies to us, especially in this translation, where it says, don't be afraid of them. This means that God is telling us not to be afraid, and He is with you. Matthew 28:20, always until the end of the age. Number 2, Ephesians 4:29. No foul language should come out of your mouth, but only what is good for building up someone in need, so that it gives grace to those who hear. This is a tough one, especially coming from the last verse, which was encouraging. It's sort of like the, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say it, but the original version. Now, this advice isn't just coming from your mom, it's coming from God now. Yeah, take this verse plainly. Maybe don't tell your bullies anything, or even hit them with a Jesus loves you. That'll get him. Luke 6:27-28. But I say to you who listen, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, and pray for those who mistreat you. This is a really powerful verse, and it's also really hard to follow. But Jesus did this a lot to help us to realize how bad we really are, if this is really the standard. But ask God for help in doing this, so that you can live like Jesus commands us. Apply this to bullying. Realize that the people themselves are not bad, just deceived. Love the people, hate the sin. Note that Jesus never said to love your enemies' deeds, He said to love your enemies. 1 John 2:9 CSB. The one who says he is in the light but hates his brother or sister is in the darkness until now. This adds on to the last verse. Not only should you love your brother or sister, but if you don't, you're in the darkness. Ask God for help to love your brother or sister. Last verse. Colossians 3:13 CSB. Bearing with one another and forgiving one another, if anyone has a grievance against another. Just as the Lord has forgiven you, so you are also to forgive. In this passage, Paul is telling us to forgive one another because the Lord forgave you, and we are to live like the Lord. Lastly, think of it like this. Jesus' death on the cross is like the ultimate form of bullying. He didn't deserve it at all, but instead, He didn't fight back and even died because of the intense bullying. In the end, though, He rose again, and you will too.